Mic test, fork, mic test, mic test. So, Singles Inferno is back with season 3 and it's the popular Korean dating show that's on Netflix. The whole series is 10 episodes and they've dropped the first 3 only so far. For those of you who may not know, hi, my name is Anna. I'm Korean and last year I also participated as a producer for an international dating show called Ramen and Chill that's on YouTube. So, I'm going to be looking at this with kind of a producer's eye, see what they have done well, give my views on the contestants and such. I've reviewed the first 2 seasons already. That's on my channel. Go watch those if you haven't. So already from what I've seen of these first 3 episodes, I already like this season so much better than the other ones. So yeah, let's get into what's different. First of all, we have Dex from season 2, or he was known as Jin Young, but everyone just calls him Dex now. Now he's joined the panel and I thought he makes like kind of good and snarky commentary and I think he's a really good addition to the panel. Always the first scene of Singles Inferno is they have the contestants coming in one by one in slow-mo and I thought this year the island looked really kind of ghetto. Like I remember in the first 2 seasons at least, they made a little bit more effort with like putting some nice couches and stuff. But in this season, they were just sitting on some tin cans, it looked like. So I thought that was kind of funny. So the first girl, Cutie, obviously she's beautiful. She looks very elegant. Her posture is really good. But in the first episode especially, I did not like the look of this girl. She has definitely a resting bitch face. She doesn't smile much, so it was a huge contrast to when the second girl, Hezhon, she came in and she was very smiley and bubbly. And then she sat down and then she looked over at Cutie and she was like, oh, she's pretty. And I don't know if this was what actually happened, but Cutie just kind of didn't say anything. She didn't say a thank you. She didn't say, oh, you're pretty too back. I don't know if that was a deliberate edit by the producers to make her look worse than it actually was. But from that already, the first impression of Cutie was not good. And then the first guy comes in, his name is Minu, and he's very tall, he has good physique, he seems kind of introvert and shy, and to be honest, we don't really know who he is yet. We don't know what he does or how old he is because he hasn't been to Paradise yet. So I think for him, we just have to carry on watching to find out more about this guy. Okay, and then Jin-seok, he's very tan, he's probably the buffest guy in this series. First impression was that he could come off quite intimidating. That's what I thought. And then we have the third girl, Min Young. I thought she was the most giggly, smiley, just good vibes. So shots of Min Young compared to the shots of Cutie, who's looking very posed and they're kind of giving these side eye looks. That was kind of funny to me. And then we have Kwani come in, and this guy, when I first saw him, I really thought he looked like Pinzino, the rapper, Korean rapper. He's slightly older than the contestants we've had before. I think he's 36. He's a pro basketball player and I think he's on YouTube as well. This guy to me gives off bad boy vibes, and I think all the girls will end up flocking to him, but he just gives me a red flag alert. We'll talk about why that is very soon. And then they all sat down to have lunch and oh my gosh, this season, the food is terrible at Inferno. Terrible. There's absolutely no cooking. They're literally just giving cans of tuna and carrots or cucumber. Like I would starve because I don't eat cucumbers, and if all I've been given to eat is like cans of tuna, I would actually starve. Is that seriously all the food that they get in Inferno? Some of the guys are like gym guys, they're like big, they need calories. They have surely must be eating other stuff. And also the part where they're cutting up the vegetables was just like, what is going on? You can see like Min Young and the other girl, they were like trying getting the vegetables from the ground, and Cutie is just standing there in the shade like, I ain't doing that. I'm too princessy for that. But I think the guys did end up picking up on her kind of a princess vibes, because even though a lot of the guys, they said based on first impression, like Cutie is like she's the prettiest, when they were doing the first round of votes, she didn't get picked at all. So after lunch, the producers tell them like, okay, you're going to go to Paradise already, immediately, which is kind of like a more fast-paced version of the previous seasons. And Kwani was saying that he likes Hezhon, and they actually end up going to Paradise together. And Minu in his interview originally said he was into Cutie on first impression, but then he ended up passing her and giving his ticket to Minyoung because she was very bright and bubbly and just good vibes. So I think that must have humbled her quite a bit, because she was saying in her interview like, I am not threatened by these girls on here, I'm the best one. And to be honest, you know those intro shots of when they're having to talk about themselves, it's so cringy, because they do this on Love Island as well. They make the contestants say the cringiest kind of lines like, oh, I'm the best one here, nobody can beat me. A lot of that is producer driven or producer encouraged. But yeah, Cutie got humbled real quick. But Minyoung ends up going with Jinseok. So the two couples that got matched, they hold hands and they go off into paradise. So the first 2 seasons paradise scenes, it was shot at Paradise Hotel in Incheon. I think the rooms there was just much nicer. I do understand that they want to switch it up, so they've now changed the paradise scenes to Grand Hyatt Hotel in Jeju. So the couples get settled in, and then Haesun asks Kwani to guess her age, and he says 28, which I thought was quite bold of him because she doesn't look 28 in my opinion. We find out that Haesun is a science major. She's studying bioinformatics at uni. She interned at Silicon Valley and she's still working remotely. So she is basically like the Nadine of this season. She is beautiful and she is smart. I didn't know if I felt like they had super good chemistry, but I mean, they looked like they were having a good time, so we'll have to see what happens. And it's really funny because then you see the couple left in Inferno and they're literally eating rice and cooked spam. It's terrible. And I thought Cutie and Minu, they were both pretty on the quiet side. Their conversation wasn't particularly interesting, so they didn't get much screen time. But she was kind of laughing a little bit more, being slightly more giggly. And I liked how the panel threw shade by saying, oh, she's kind of being nice now. She has been humbled. She's now finally being nice. And then obviously there has to be a swimming pool scene. Obviously they're trying to recreate the magic of season 2 with Jin Young and Sugi. That will be forever iconic. I don't know if this season will get that, but let's see. But I must say, Min Young and Jin Seok, they were getting pretty touchy, pretty friendly really quick in their swimming pool scene. I don't know how much of the affection and the touchiness is producer driven or if that's authentic behavior, but we'll never know, I guess. When we did Ramen and Chill, all of that stuff, it was 100% genuine. Any skinship, any touchiness that happened, it happened 100% because they wanted to. So anyway, the couple sleep overnight at the hotel. And then the next morning, as they're having breakfast, Hyesun and Kwani, they get told by the producer that she has to leave because she has to go meet a new guy downstairs. So Kwani's like, obviously like, what the fuck? And first, Hyesun is super shocked. She's like, ugh! And then she's like, bye-bye to Kwani. And she goes downstairs, meets a guy in a Porsche. And he basically reveals to her that there's a separate inferno with 5 other people on the island. And this is the best plot twist that could have happened because usually in the first 2 seasons, apart from getting introduced to all the contestants, the first episode was usually the most boring one. Nothing really happens. I think now this season, the producers have now said, okay, we need to hook people from the first episode straight away. So they have introduced a separate island with separate contestants, which I think was the best idea. I think they must have got inspiration from Love Island's Casa Amor. They have a similar structure in place and it always causes the most chaos, the most drama. So as a viewer, it's very nice to see this. So moving on to episode 2, the new guy that picked her up in the car, his name is Mingyu. I just call him a shoulder guy. He has the biggest shoulders and back. He's also very tall. But let's get into the new contestants on the other island. So first of all, we have Wonik, and he has a very boyish, young boyish look. And please don't come at me, BTS Army, but I thought that from certain angles, he did remind me of V, Taeyong. So obviously, V is, he's V, he's much better looking and all that, but it just really reminded me of him from certain angles. Just my opinion. Please don't attack me. And then the second guy, Habin, I thought he looked very handsome features. We really don't know much information about him yet because he really didn't have much screen time. And then we have the foxy Ha Dong. I think she's going to become a very interesting character. She's very confident, very self-assured. What I did think about Cutie from episode 1, I think she's trying to give off Jia vibes from season 1. The way she was acting kind of aloof and cold. But I think actually Ha Dong from episode 2, she's the more confident, more assertive. She is very flirty. She does this thing with her chin where she's like looking up at the guy, like she pulls her chin down and then she looks up at the guy like this, and then the whole entire panel was making fun of her. And I think it's really funny. As a viewer, she's very entertaining to watch, and I'm sure a lot of the new drama will revolve around this girl. And then we have Sheehan, and if I have to pick a favorite out of the girls, purely in terms of looks, I think she was the prettiest for me. The panel was saying she looks like Jenny. To me, she looks like a mixture of people. She reminded me of Ariel, the mermaid with like her long flowy hair. I think her face is gorgeous. We need to get to know her personality a little bit more, but in terms of face, I think she's my favorite one. And it's funny because both of these girls actually knew each other from before. One of them is close friends with the other one's sister, so they already knew each other from before, and they both keep going for the same same type of guy. Well, they're just going for the most attractive guy, to be fair. They both like Mingyu, and I've kind of felt bad for the other guys because there's 3 guys and only just 2 girls, and they both just ended up going for the one guy, so I felt really bad. Unfortunately, on these shows, I think just pretty boys, pretty face does not cut it. You have to have good looks and like a beefy body in order to stand out and get all the women. So the girls both picked him and he ended up picking Hajang. So they go off to paradise, and Xian was really not happy with this. Really, really not happy. She went back to her room. She looked really sad. And the fact that this Inferno looked really just ghetto and just not nice, it made it look it made it look worse. So we find out that Hajang is 26 and Mingyu is 34. And we find out that he's policeman, he's a coast guard, and that made him look way more attractive suddenly. We love a man in a uniform. For me, Hajang's face reminded me a little bit of Yeri from Red Velvet. Let me know if I was the only one that thought that. I thought the shots of them in the bathtub looked so staged, and it's like the camera, it looked like it was so close to them. It just does not look natural at all. And he seems super sweet, but slightly on the more shy side, where she's very confident. She makes direct eye contact, she's very flirty. And then the next morning, same thing happens. Hajang gets told that she has to go downstairs to meet a new guy. She's immediately takes a liking to Kwani, and to me it seemed obvious that these two have more chemistry than when Kwani was with Hyesun. And oh my god, the scene in the helicopter as they're returning back, it killed me because Minyoung is there, she's literally sleeping as these two are doing their own thing. It's like, girl, are you really sleeping on this loud ass helicopter? I found that so funny. So now the girls on the first Inferno Island, they're gonna fight over Mingyu. And I noticed that Cutie is a lot more talkative, a lot more smiley on this day. And so I'm very glad that she noticed that if she continues acting like that, nobody's going to like her. So she changed up real quick. That worked because she ended up getting all of the boys' votes on the second day. Good for her. So in episode 3, Kwan Hee, the basketball player, he's getting to know the new island and the people on there. But Xian and Wonning end up getting picked to go to paradise together, which means that Kwan Hee and Hye-sung, again, for the second night in a row, they're going to paradise again. So they're having dinner, and he's kind of, I think, using the toxic reverse psychology stuff on her because she asks him to guess her age, and he tells her that she looks 31. We don't know if he genuinely thinks that or if he was just playfully saying that or trying to get a reaction out of her, but obviously she's very offended, and he was like, wait, surely you're over 30. Are you 32? There's a phrase for this in toxic male communities. It's called negging. So if you make her feel kind of insecure, bad about herself, then she'll want your approval, this kind of thing. Yeah, this is why this guy is a walking red flag. But he did say that he gets very playful with his girlfriends. He just likes making fun of them. So maybe that's his thing. But it's revealed that they have a 10-year age gap. She is 26, he is 36. And I'd actually noticed that there were significant age gaps this season, like 8-year age gap, 10-year age gap. So that's slightly different. So they do have like this flirting, kind of making fun of each other back and forth. But he does tell her that he does want to see the girl from day one again, which is Hyesun. And then she does this like the most insincere, awkward laugh, like, oh, I see, ha ha ha. Yeah, you should go and see her then. And all the panel just crack up laughing because they can just tell like she's not happy with that answer. I mean, like what a girl would be, you know? And then at the end of episode 3, you get a teaser into the upcoming episodes, and I think it's going to be super juicy. So what's revealed in the teaser is like Kwan Hee leading on 3 girls. He's like, I like you, I don't know what to do. And obviously there's going to be a new bombshell, a hot new girl coming in, and I really hope she's super stunning and she just shakes up the whole island. And there's a scene of her already saying 사랑해, which means I love you. Already? They're already saying I love you to each other, so very much looking forward to the upcoming episodes. Overall, I think season 3 has started off with a bang, much stronger than the previous seasons. I do feel sorry for the introverts of this season, but this is reality TV, and if you're just quiet a lot of the time and you don't have much interesting stuff to say, unfortunately, you're just not going to end up on the screen much. So there are some of the guys, especially from the island too, we just don't know anything about them really. So hoping we get to see more of them in the upcoming episodes. In terms of my current favorites, out of the guys, I think probably the Coast Guard guy. He also seems really sweet, and he was like, you know, doing the blanket thing and taking as they were being called. I have a feeling all the girls will end up falling for Kwan Hee. He has the bad boy vibe. He's not going to act nervous around any of the girls. He seems very self-assured. So they're probably going to end up falling for him, like how it was for Dex in season 2. For me, me, he is a walking red flag, so I would not choose him. Out of the girls, I can't really say I have a favorite girl in terms of personality yet. I like the look of Xion, but I think in terms for entertainment, I think Hajang will bring the most drama, and I am here for it. So yeah, what do you guys think? Who is your favorite guy or girl so far? Any strong opinions? Let me know down in the comments down below, and I'll be making sure to come back and reviewing the upcoming episodes too. So see you in the next one. Bye bye.